Welcome to the show. It is week 14 now in the NFL. 12 games down, 4 weeks left, with the fate of a large number of teams hanging in the balance and in some cases, or many cases, hanging by a thread. Of course, the most fortunate teams have little to worry about over the final 4 weeks, and we'll begin our discussion with two of those clubs. And let me bring in the three wise men. With me in our Philadelphia studio, Brian Baldier. From the nation's capital, Rick Doc Walker. And in Dallas, courtesy of Bodog Football, it is Tim Brown. Gentlemen, welcome. And we begin with the big bad Patriots, who are 4 games now from perfection. Patriots taking on the Steelers. It is 9-3 against 12-0. Baldier, let me start with you. 2 close calls back-to-back for the Patriots, who remain unbeaten at 12-0. They'll host this game against the Steelers Sunday. Is there anything you've seen the past 2 weeks with New England that gives you cause for concern about them being able to finish with the winning record, a perfect season?
Yeah. I mean, look, Tom Brady's had 40 incompletions in the last 2 weeks. He's been pressured. He's been hit. There was blustery conditions in Baltimore. It was cold conditions in New England against the Eagles. And all of a sudden, those pretty passes that were going for 5 or 6 touchdowns a game, have been stopped. So I would say there's some cause for concern right now.
All right, let's look at the Patriots' final 4 games. What's coming up? They do have the Steelers, which really, when you look at it, looks like the final significant hurdle, because after that it's the 3-9 Jets, the Dolphins, who could go 0-16, be the polar opposites of Bill Belichick's crew, and then the Giants, who knows how that'll play or what'll be at stake on December 29th in that case, and how the Patriots might play it if they're still unbeaten, or if they rest players, et cetera. We'll know, obviously, more come the end of December. Let me ask you this, Doc Walker. They had a couple of close calls the Patriots did against the Eagles and then the Baltimore Ravens. Now they play a Steelers team that has the #1 defense in the league. Now, defensively, the last couple of weeks, we've seen opponents be able to at least do more things against the Patriots than those first 10 teams or so have been able to do against them. Are the Steelers the team that can sort of put that final chink in the armor and break the Patriot streak?
Well, it seems likely. But the thing I like about New England is that they continue to find a way to win, as most outstanding teams do. With that surface, if they're playing that in Hines, that's another factor that works for the black and gold. People have tried to bully New England, and I think they've proven now you can't bully them. They're tough. They're equally as physical. They've got to work on their running game. There's some things they have to work on. The scary part to me is that now Belichick really gets to show them some things and get after them. And so that means they're looking to improve now. I don't think they're looking at their record. They're going to look at the past 2 weeks and say, we've got to get better, not to be undefeated, but to win it all.
Hey, Tim, the Steelers really shut down Cincinnati last week, and Anthony Smith, Pittsburgh's defensive back, gave great compliments to Cincinnati's passing corps, including the quarterback Carson Palmer, and saying that the Patriots are not the Bengals when it comes to a passing offense. Smith went so far, Tim, as to guarantee that the Steelers will win this game against the Patriots. If you're his teammate, how are you reacting to that guarantee he's issuing?
Well, I'm trying to find something to stop his mouth up with, but even if you believe that, that's not something you want to put out there. You don't want to have that on their board, and I'm sure it's going to be on their board. And I think I understand what he means, because when you look at Cincinnati, they run the routes that those guys are running are very in-depth routes. Houshmandzadeh and Chad and Henry, they run real routes. And when you look at Randy has 2 or 3 routes on his tree. He's going to run the slant, he's going to run the fade stop, and he's going to run the go route, basically. And that's all you're going to really get out of him. So, and you have to worry about Wes Welker, but, if I'm Anthony Smith, I would wait till after the game and say, well, I was going to guarantee it. I just didn't say it before the game.
Yeah, it's the safest route going into a game like this. All right, I want to talk about the quarterbacks in a moment. But first, we're going to hear from one of them, Tom Brady, and then we'll hear from a player on the other side in Hines Ward as they get set for this collision course in the AFC.
Everyone's got to realize what they got to do better. And, we have a lot of room for improvement on offense, and we're going to focus on that. We got 4 weeks to really improve. And, I'm looking forward to see the kind of improvements we can make. We've usually, in the past, we've done pretty well in December. And, we're looking forward to hopefully doing the same this year.
All in all, you look on paper, and they're the team to beat. And like I say, for us, probably nobody's giving us a chance to win this game, but we like that. We like going into somebody else's territory. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, but if we go out there and just, don't get caught up in the hype and just going out there and just playing, Pittsburgh Steelers football, we'll be fine.
Now, we could really see some excellent quarterbacking in this game. As you look at these two teams, you can see the Patriots on one side, where they rank in terms of some of their offense and defense as well in the top 5 in these particular categories. Pittsburgh, no slouch as well. You can see where the Steelers rank on the other side. And it really speaks offensively anyway, Baldy, to the quarterbacks in these two games, both Manning and both Brady and Roethlisberger, both having exceptional seasons. Maybe Brady's the MVP when all is said and done, but Roethlisberger's no slouch here in 2007.
No, I mean, he was outstanding against Cincinnati last week. I mean, he's a guy that can move. We've seen him in the Super Bowl make plays outside the pocket. We've seen him run. Last week scoring a touchdown. In the Super Bowl, he did the same thing. The thing that Doc touched on that I've watched now over the course of the season, this Patriot team, they've been challenged 4 times this year. Week 6 against Dallas, Week 9 Indy, the Eagles 2 weeks ago, and then the Ravens. Every time they fell behind in the second half, they put the ball right in their best players' hands. Welker takes the kickoff return or the punt return. Brady's in shotgun. The ball goes to Moss and it goes to Welker. And they go to work. So you better be ready to defend some excellent athletes because that's who's going to touch the ball. That's who's going to see it. And then it's up to you to try to stop that.
Doc, answer this for me. When you're 10-0 and 11-0 and now 12-0, and so many people are talking about perfect season. We're beginning to hear more from Mercury Morris and Bob Greasy and the Dolphins, who, of course, had the unbeaten season. What does it do to a Patriots team? And I ask that because the last 2 weeks, it just looks like they've been rattled a little bit during games, whereas before we didn't see anything resembling that when they played even the Colts or the Cowboys in close games.
Ron, I really think it has a lot to do with the opponent. And Philadelphia, I mean, they've had some injuries, but again, they're the reigning king of the Big Bad East. So for them to play well, to me, was no surprise. I expect Philadelphia. They're physical. They've got some playmakers, and they just had to play, and they did. Last week, if you see Baltimore's defense is, as advertised. They also got some points, and they blew the game. They lost their composure. They gave up some plays, but they were highly competitive. But the Eagles and the Ravens combined are not the Steelers. So the Steelers are the best chance, have the best opportunity to actually beat them because they're better personnel than the people they played so far.
And Tim, another point Anthony Smith, the Steelers DB, made, he talked about the physical nature that the Steelers play with. He believed that's going to be the difference in this game because Pittsburgh will be so physical that the Patriots won't be able to respond the way they did against maybe some teams that don't quite measure up to their level.
Well, certainly that's how you have to beat these guys. And as Doc said, I mean, New England is going to match you physical for physical. I mean, they are a physical football team also. I think the thing that really gives Pittsburgh the edge here, in my mind, the one thing Tom Brady doesn't like is pressure right up the middle of the gut. And I think that's what Pittsburgh will be able to do with their 3-4 defense and the blitzes that they can come with the linebackers. If they can get pressure up the middle and make Tom Brady move, he's not the same guy when he has to do that. So, this is a football team that can certainly get it done. It's going to be tough for them on the road. I'm wondering if they can score enough points to win. I think defensively they're going to be able to get it done. I just wonder if Ben and Hines can get it done up there and put some points on the board.
And limit the mistakes. That will go a long way toward getting a victory if you're the Steelers. All right, as we approach the end of our first segment, we say so long to Tim Brown for this week, and we remind you for more of Tim's insight into an analysis of the pro game, visit BodogFootball.net. Tim, until next week, have a great one.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Well, coming up on Pro Football Now, the Cowboys 11-1.